The carnival was alive with laughter and bright lights as families strolled past colorful booths and kids clutched their prizes with excitement. In the middle of it all, a group of rowdy bikers rolled in, their roaring engines drowning out the cheerful music. They weren't there for the rides or games. They wanted attention, and they weren't shy about making trouble to get it. What they didn't know was that among the crowd was a soldier, off-duty, dressed in casual clothes, just trying to enjoy a peaceful evening. But when the bikers started pushing their luck, causing a scene, and crossing the line with the wrong people, the soldier's instincts kicked in. He didn't want to fight, but sometimes standing up for what's right can't be avoided. As tensions rose and the bikers got more aggressive, no one could have predicted what would happen next. Stay tuned to see how it all unfolds. The soldier, a man named Jake, had spent years serving his country, learning discipline, strategy, and how to handle tense situations. Tonight, though, he was just trying to unwind. He watched the bikers with a calm, steady gaze, hoping they'd lose interest in their antics and move along. But when one of them shoved a teenager out of the way near the basketball game booth, Jake's patience wore thin. The bikers, led by a tall, loud man with a leather jacket covered in patches, laughed as if they owned the place. People in the crowd started to back away, unsure of what might happen next. Jake quietly stepped forward, blending into the scene, watching closely. He could tell these guys were used to intimidating people without consequences. But this time was different. Jake wasn't afraid of bullies, and his years of training had taught him exactly how to handle situations like this. The question was, would it come to that? Jake stood near the booth, his calm demeanor masking the readiness coursing through him. The bikers continued their loud antics, their leader barking orders like he was in charge of the carnival. Vendors exchanged worried glances, while parents hurried their children away from the chaos. Jake noticed one of the bikers knocking over a stack of prizes, laughing as the vendor scrambled to pick them up. Nearby, a young boy tugged on his father's sleeve, asking why the bikers were being so mean. The father gave a nervous smile, ushering his son toward the carousel. Jake couldn't ignore it anymore. These weren't just harmless troublemakers. They were ruining the night for everyone. As he stepped closer, Jake heard the bikers talking about finding the next ride and saw them eyeing a small group of teenagers standing by the popcorn stand. He felt a surge of determination. If they tried to escalate things, he'd be ready. The question now was whether his presence alone could stop what was brewing, or if he'd have to step in and show them why they'd messed with the wrong person. Jake's eyes locked onto the group of bikers as they moved toward the teenagers. Their laughter grew louder, their words sharper, and the unease in the air became palpable. The teenagers tried to act unfazed, but Jake could see their nervous glances, the way they shifted closer together, hoping to avoid confrontation. One of the bikers grabbed a bag of popcorn from a girl's hands and tossed it onto the ground, smirking as if it was all a joke. The girl froze, her friends pulling her back, their voices shaky as they told the bikers to leave them alone. That's when Jake made his move, stepping forward with a calm but commanding presence. "Hey," he said firmly, his voice cutting through the noise. The bikers turned, their smirks fading as they sized him up. Jake didn't flinch. That's enough. For a moment, there was silence, the crowd watching anxiously. The leader of the group stepped forward, towering over Jake, his expression hard. "And who's gonna stop us?" he sneered. Jake didn't answer. He didn't need to. His stance, his unwavering gaze. It was clear this wasn't a man who backed down. The bikers exchanged uneasy glances, sensing the tension in the air shift. But instead of retreating, the leader doubled down, stepping even closer, ready to push his luck. The carnival lights flickered in the background as Jake stood his ground, the crowd holding its breath. Something was about to happen, and everyone could feel it. As the leader stepped closer, his smirk barely hiding his irritation, Jake caught sight of something unexpected. Behind the bikers, one of the Carnival security guards was approaching, his radio in hand, and his face set in determination. Relief briefly flickered through the crowd, but Jake's instincts told him this wasn't over. The leader noticed the movement too, glancing over his shoulder. Instead of backing down, he barked orders to his group. Two of the bikers moved toward the guard, blocking his path. The guard hesitated, clearly outnumbered and outmatched, and the bikers took full advantage of it, taunting him with laughter and mockery. Jake's jaw tightened. The situation was spiraling, and now it wasn't just about the teenagers or the carnival. It was about keeping everyone safe. Just as he was about to step in, something else caught his attention. A small boy had wandered too close to the confrontation, clutching a balloon and looking up at the bikers with wide eyes. The crowd gasped as one of the bikers turned toward the child, his grin spreading as if he'd found a new way to stir up trouble. Jake felt a surge of adrenaline. This wasn't just about stopping bullies anymore. It was about protecting someone innocent. The leader turned back to Jake, his voice dripping with mockery. "You still think you can handle this alone, tough guy?" he sneered. Jake didn't flinch, but he could feel the weight of every eye on him. The stakes were higher now, and the moment of truth was fast approaching. Jake moved without hesitation. In one fluid motion, he stepped between the biker and the child, his voice calm but firm. "Back off," he said, his tone carrying the weight of authority. The biker froze for a moment, startled by the sheer confidence in Jake's stance. The boy's mother rushed forward, scooping her son into her arms and hurrying away, but the tension in the air didn't break. The leader of the bikers laughed, though it sounded forced now. "Big mistake, hero," he said, nodding to his crew. Two of them moved toward Jake, their overconfidence evident in their swagger. Jake didn't wait. With a precision that came from years of training, he sidestepped the first biker's grab, using the man's momentum to send him stumbling into the nearby booth. The second lunged, but Jake's calculated movements left him flat on the ground, winded and stunned. The crowd erupted in gasps and murmurs, the bikers now visibly shaken. The leader's bravado faltered as Jake locked eyes with him, his calm intensity saying everything words didn't need to. Just then, the security guard stepped forward again, this time joined by local police who had been quietly called in by one of the vendors. As the bikers were escorted away, the leader shot Jake a final glare. "This isn't over," he muttered. Jake gave a faint smile, his voice steady. "It is for tonight." As the carnival returned to life and the crowd cheered, Jake turned to leave, blending back into the crowd like he had never been there. But just as he stepped away, a teenager approached, holding out a small stuffed bear from the booth. "Thanks," the boy said quietly. Jake smiled, took the bear, and nodded. The bikers might have left, but Jake had a feeling this night would stick with everyone who had seen it, and he wouldn't soon forget it either. As Jake walked away from the crowd, the hum of the carnival returned to normal. Laughter and music filled the air again, and families slowly relaxed, enjoying the evening once more. The teenagers he had helped waved at him from a distance, their relieved smiles showing their gratitude. Jake gave a small wave back, but he didn't linger. The stuffed bear in his hand felt oddly comforting as he made his way toward the exit. He wasn't looking for recognition or thanks. That wasn't why he had stepped in. For him, it was about doing the right thing, about standing up when others couldn't. As the lights of the carnival grew smaller behind him, Jake felt a quiet sense of satisfaction. Tonight wasn't about being a soldier or a hero. It was about being human, someone willing to step forward when it mattered most. And that was enough for him.